Hello everyone. In my last video I talked about how I was going to be on my friend's podcast. Her name is Allison McGregor. I'm going to hop on Zoom and hopefully get connected to her. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I love it. Well, we can just jump right into it, and you can kind of just share with us a little bit about yourself and how you kind of got into yoga and just like your background. I'm sure all my people are so curious.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll start with my name. My name is Danny. Danny Smith, but you've known me as Danny Saunders for over all of my life besides the past year and a half. I'm actually from a small town called McMinnville, Oregon, but then I moved to Kaiser when I was 11. And that's where I met the lovely Allison McGregor, but I'm having a very hard time not calling you Bob.
I know, no, it's really funny. Everyone calls me that. It's so funny. It's so funny. That's like, it was like an identity switch.
It truly is. I mean, it was weird if people called you Ali. Like, it's like they didn't really know you. Like, oh, you're not one of her real friends.
Yeah, you're a real one.
And so grew up, played softball with you all throughout my middle school years, and then high school came around and I decided I liked softball a lot, so I stuck with it. Then ended up going to Willamette University there in Salem, really strayed far from home for college.
I love it. Like, it's so cool. I love that you were able to play sport in college. Like, that's so awesome. It's so cool.
I mean, I had to make the hard decision to stop more than halfway through. It was probably one of the hardest decisions I ever had to make. And honestly, I know that sounds silly, but like when a sport is your life.
No, it's your love.
Yeah, like I chose softball over so many things growing up. Like I didn't do half of the cool things in high school. Like I didn't play in any powder puff games. I only went to prom my senior year and it was with like a friend. Like it took over everything.
Yeah.
Like
it's crazy. It has to when you want to play at that level. You have to make sacrifices.
Yeah, it dictated my sleep schedule, what I ate, who I was with 24/7, what my influences are. So yeah, something like that you decide, okay, I'm going to step out of this and that's not who I am anymore. I have to find something that I can like put my passion towards.
I love that, how you say that. It's not who I am anymore. So I think that was your identity switch. It's like, okay, softball, it's like, I'm Danny, I play softball. And like, now it's like, I'm Danny, I do...
Yeah, exactly.
And now you gotta find it. Now you're like, open water, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, I was like, well, I guess I'll try this out. So sophomore year of college, while I was still playing softball, something really cool that Willamette offered was fitness classes for credit. So I literally got like credit to take yoga classes, and I thought, holy shit, that is so cool. So I took yoga because everybody knows like the basics, like, oh, it's so calming, it'll ease anxiety. It's so much more than that. We'll get into that in a
100%.
second. But it was such a great, I always had it in the middle of my days usually, which I did on purpose because I would do, I'd have 2 exams in the morning. I'd have, a 2-hour break where I could eat, go to yoga, and then, have to write a paper.
Yeah.
It was such a great way to just like center myself after feeling so unbalanced throughout my day. And then when I stopped playing softball, I was like, okay, I literally don't have to work out anymore. Like, my body is mine again. I can do what I want with it.
Yeah.
That sounds so silly, but like...
No, I felt that because I didn't play sport in college, so mine just came earlier.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like that my freshman year, but I just didn't work out at all.
That was me for a little bit. I was like, You know how, like, you know, when you're a freshman in college and, like, you were the kid in high school that, like, was good and didn't drink or whatever?
Yep.
And then you pop off the top your freshman year of college?
Yep.
Like, that's how I was, but with, like, working out. After a while, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sleep in. I'm gonna eat this whole bag of Doritos. I'm gonna drink a Baja Blast Freeze from Taco Bell, and no one is gonna point their finger at me and be like, are you sure? Like,
because you can. Like, you don't have any, like, not accountability, but, like, you have nothing tied you to, like, your nutrition, to your working out habits. You don't really have goals, exercise goals, you know?
And, you know, that was great for, like, you know, a month or something.
Oh, yeah, all fun and dandy for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, oh, God, I don't feel so good.
Yeah, and so, I don't know, I'm kind of blending, like, your first and second question here, so just bear with me.
Okay, you're good. You're good.
But I got into yoga my sophomore year of college, and then throughout the rest of college, I always took it as a class after that. I loved it. I chose my same instructor every single time. She was a huge influence on me. Her name's Stacy, miss her. Yeah, and so after college, I met my husband, and what's really funny is we all went to high school together.
Whoa, what?
Yeah.
What? I'm shook.
He was younger than me, so and like
what?
Yeah, so
small town.
I know it was wild. It was so
That's crazy.
Yeah, I met him probably 4 or 5 months after I graduated college in 2018.
Oh,
and yeah, he made the decision that, you know, he loved me. So he proposed to me in January of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
But then he decided, you know, I've always been told, like, oh, you should wait to, you know, join the military, or like, oh, something would always come up with him. And then he decided, I'm gonna join the military, and I know I proposed to you, but like, are you down? That's basically what happened. And so he proposed me in January of 2019, and we were married March 10th of 2019.
Oh my gosh, dang, you pulled that together real quick.
Oh yeah, it was. I got my dress off the internet, like.
No, however, see, I think that's the best part about weddings is, like, it's your own story, it's your own thing. Like, do what you want, like, don't feel bad about it.
Absolutely.
You know? I think that's cool. Most people can't pull together a wedding in a year. You're like, 2 months.
I mean, I had a lot of help. I had a ton of help from, like, friends and family, and I was really gracious for that. But anyways, fast forwarding, I moved to North Carolina in October of 2019. And obviously I moved here. I didn't have a job. I started my master's program the same month that I moved. And so for the first little bit, I was just doing my homework, putting a house together. And then I felt like I was missing something, and I was always practicing yoga. I mean, the West Coast is so, like, granola and into, like, holistic, you know, everything.
Yes.
And so I truly was like, are there even, like, yoga, like, studios over here?
Yeah.
And I mean, I would go on base in the fitness centers. They offered, you know, yoga classes there. So I thought, oh, okay, sweet. I'll just... Sorry. I would go to yoga on base, and that was great for a little bit. But then base was it's about 20 minutes from where we live, because we don't live on base. And so I was, babe. I was driving around town, and then I saw this place called Hayat Yoga Shala.
Whoa.
And yeah,
I'm practicing already.
I know. I was like, whoa. Come on now. I was like, wow, that looks great. And so I walked in there, a class was like about to start, so I just paid for like a one-time class. I walked out and I was like, I want this to be my life.
Yeah.
Like
that's powerful.
I walked out, and let me just tell you, I walked into this yoga studio. They had kombucha on tap.
They have that shit down here, and I'm like, this is my dream. Like, I'm like, this is where it's meant to be.
I know. I saw all of that.
Amazing.
I saw that they call themselves the Lavender Den in there, where they like make the kombucha and put it on right? And
you found your spot.
I found it, and then Hayat, that's actually my now yoga teacher's name. Her name's Hayat Hakim. Yeah. And it was her place, and she was actually the person who taught my class, and so I got super lucky in that way. And then I just introduced myself to her, and I was like,
I'm literally shook right now.
I was like, I would love to just like be a part of this family. I feel changed, and I just walked through these doors. It was just crazy. So it was like beginning of February when that happened, and she goes, well, I do have a yoga school.
Whoa.
But it started last month. And I said, well, all right, darn, maybe I'll just be a student, for the year, and then if the cards line up for me next year, I'll just pursue it then. Because I'm already in my master's, so I'm like, okay, slow down.
Yeah.
But
chill.
then she looked at me and she was like, are you willing to work hard? And I was like, yes. And so she printed all the paperwork for me, and I filled it out, and she gave me a book list and told me, all right, come back this weekend. That's when we do our like in-person training for 4 days straight, like 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. See you then.
Whoa. Oh
yeah.
My gosh, so you just got kind of thrown into it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I throw myself into everything I do.
Yeah, but I feel like you're the kind of people who just go full throttle, like, okay, we get this idea, we're like, okay, go. You're like, oh, masters and blah, blah, blah. Like yoga school, like, let's do it.
Yep, and then I actually got a teaching job in the mix of all that, so I'm like...
It's honestly, for people like us, I think we function better when we're busy and at high levels.
Yep.
Because when I'm on it, the first month, you're probably going stir crazy, huh?
Yeah, I felt, it goes back to like playing softball all my life. I didn't feel like I was producing anything. I felt like now I feel more comfortable, like I don't need to be like producing something at every moment of my life, but like you hit it right on the head. Like I felt so just like deflated. I don't know how else to put it, but yeah.
Well, it's crazy because like I feel the same when I'm not working towards certain goals, whether it's like business goals or fitness goals. So once I realized that, I was like, oh, even if it's like a small one of me trying to get to my mat, like this month, really only did that challenge so I could challenge myself to get to my mat every day, because it's just a small little teeny tiny challenge, but at least I feel like I'm working towards something, productive.
Yeah.
I'm a 3 Enneagram. I don't know what you are, but...
Oh, I'm a 6. I'm a loyalist. Yeah.
Okay. But like...
My husband's a 3.
What?
My husband's a 3.
Yeah, so like I just feel like I always have to be like productive and do something and in all those things. So it's like at least I can like kind of trick my brain into like, oh yeah, this is productive. Cross something off your checklist.
Oh yeah.
Like get to my yoga mat.
Like,
not much of anything, but it changes everything.
Yeah, and so that's what yoga is, and I think the number one thing that people probably don't understand right off the bat is, first off, I can't even count on my hands and my toes how many people have said, I would do yoga, but I'm not flexible enough. And
oh my gosh,
it's just like, it kind of makes me sad, because I'm like, it's made for anybody. It was created to like build the inside of you outward. Like your body is like the last component of yoga.
Yeah, I feel like your physical body is like your slow, just like version of your brain. Like it takes you, like you have to like change everything in your mind to your brain, and then like your body's like last to like get to it.
Absolutely. Like your body is just your mechanism of like moving through life. Like everything else is like inside.
Yeah.
And that's probably what, I mean, I loved my yoga instructor from college, but like when I went and practiced at I mixed her first name and her last name. Hayat, I said her last name. When I went and practiced at her studio that one time, it really just hit me like, this is like a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. Yeah. Like, I'm past wanting to do it just for leisure now. Like, I want to live and like be a light to other people, but I don't want to inspire people. That's not like my goal. I just want to I just want to share.
Yeah, I think you're a natural teacher. Like, we see that in your life, but like at like yoga, you know, whatever it is. Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And I think like college was a good lick and taste of yoga, but then you got into like the real stuff, like with the studio, it sounds like. Because I know it's kind of like that here, like there's some studios that are like, woohoo, yeah, we're doing yoga, but then there's like the legit, like, okay, this is like more like, is it Buddhist practice? Is that
so it's not really, I mean, yoga has so many like twists and turns and like, so like all yoga is based, I say that very loosely. It goes back to like Hinduism.
Okay, there we go. So cool.
But the really cool thing, and I think this is one of the questions you wanted me to answer, but one of the huge benefits of yoga is that you don't have to believe in like one certain thing to do it. I mean, this whole month, we're doing a month of accountability for me and my yoga school. And so we get up at 6 every morning and meditate for like 20 to 30 minutes. And my teacher leads, obviously. And we always think about how we're connecting to just something bigger than ourselves. It doesn't have to be, you know, Jesus Christ. It doesn't have to be Krishna.
Whatever.
It can be the flippin' moon in the stars. Like, it has to be just something that you like look to or look up and you're like, okay, everything's gonna be fine.
Yeah, because it's bigger than you. Because like I think the ego and like we turn to like a me versus a we.
And the ego, it's funny you say that, the ego is like our biggest like fault. And like
so big.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And something that yoga really does is it has you check your own ego far more than checking, you know, the world around you. That's what yoga is. It's about you. It's about what you want your practice to be, what your intention is for that practice. That's why when people say, "Oh, I'm not flexible," I'm like, it doesn't matter. If you can do a forward fold and only touch your thighs, that's fine. You are doing it for you. And there's no judgment, there's no anything, no comparison, no nothing. And I think aside from like all of the physical benefits, that's probably, personal opinion, that's probably like the biggest benefit of yoga, is being able to believe in yourself and understand that, I mean, learning yoga and like doing new poses and all that, it's a process and it's just like life. And how you were saying how people like you and I, we don't seem to have an off button. And something that yoga really does is brings you to the present moment.
Oh my gosh.
Something that I love, that's kind of rubbed off on me when I teach, but something that my instructors at the studio have said is, okay, acknowledge the 4 corners of the room that you're in, but then acknowledge the 4 corners of your mat. And you're the only thing on your mat, so you're focusing on you know?
Whoa.
And it's not selfish. It's not like a selfish, like, I'm putting me first. Nothing like that. It's about transforming and illuminating what you love and is best about you, and then just giving that to others.
Yeah, because I think when you practice doing that, then you can go be a nicer, kinder person in the world. Because before I had it mixed up, like I would go into, like I'd be rushing through my morning, rushing to get to work, rushing through seeing like 35, 40 patients.
Yeah.
And then I'm exhausted. And then like right after work switch off, I'm like, oh, ding, clocked out. Okay, so I'm not getting paid. So I'm just like drained of everything. And like, I have nothing left for myself. So it's like, once I started consistently getting to my mat, I'm like, okay, and flipping the switch of this isn't selfish. Like, this is like, I need this. Once I like kind of, you know, it's a trick in the mind.
Yeah.
It changed everything, because I think once you're right, then you can go be more, you know, of everything else in the world. Like, you know,
yeah.
it brings out your great qualities, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it can be as much as you want it to be, or it can be as small as you want it to be a part of your life. Like when I first started, and this is how most people start, you know, they go to the class, they usually go towards the back. They yeah, I mean, I did it. Everyone does it. It's okay. Like, but if you're confident enough to never have done, you know, yoga or whatever it may be, and you go front and center because you just like want to learn that bad, like, I'm not like that, but like, good for you.
Whatever to you.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I did the same thing, but I was thinking, I was like, okay, if I treat yoga class like I do sitting in the classroom, where do I sit in the classroom? Front and center. Okay, yoga, front and center. Go, like, the standard doesn't change, you know? I think you gotta put yourself out there, but you also learn quicker.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, the you know, the mind and everything gets a lot of benefits from practicing yoga, but what a lot of people don't think about is every pose in one way or another balances some sort of system in your body. So like immune system, lymphatic, cardiovascular, skeletal, like it's crazy. Digestive, like.
Yes, it's so crazy because like a back bend, I don't know obviously into all details, but like it's crazy how it's good for, you know, releasing something and all these emotions. Like, whoa, whenever I do a back bend, I'm like, I needed that, you know?
Yes, exactly. I'm so happy you said that. One of the breathing practices that we learned last month, my teacher said, okay, we're going to practice this, but I want to warn everybody, it can trigger, you know, emotional responses. And all of us were like, what? Like, okay, weird. Like, just like any learner would do, you know? But then, sure enough, we all did it, and then we had to go around and share like what we felt.
Yeah.
And one of my classmates was like bawling.
Yeah.
And like it was like real. You know, like some people do stuff and you're like, okay.
It's like, okay, come on, we saw that. That was fake.
Yes. And like,
but real.
It was so real. It was just like, oh shit. Like, this is like, I think that was another like affirming moment for me where I was like, okay, this is like legit. Like, it affects your life.
It's crazy. Like a back bend can pull out so much emotion. Like it literally just like, I'm very sciencey, so I'm like, it doesn't make sense, and that's why I love it. Because like, you can't explain it, because science is like, what is this, and like explain how everything happens. Like there's always a very nitty gritty detail and detailed steps, but yoga, it's like you just gotta go with the flow.
And like someone with your type of brain that is, you know, very like analytical and like based on science, if I were to like go in and talk about, you know, chakras and how, you know, we can open or balance your chakras with literally just essential oils. I mean,
Whoa.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk about that. We should do another podcast.
Yes.
I have this paper that I bought at the crystal shop, and it's all the chakras. And I was gonna pull it out and like, I was like, do I bring it? But like, whoa, because I love essential oils too.
Yeah. I mean, in one of my videos on my YouTube, I start the practice with lavender, and I started with lavender just because everyone knows what lavender is.
Yeah.
But in this time that we're in now, like you don't know what's going on, you're unaware of like even what's going on, you know, 20 miles from you. Everything's changing so rapidly lately. It's just like even for people who are pretty centered, like it makes people like tighten up and they're like, oh gosh, like I'm so anxious. Like I can't think about anything besides like just feeling so uncertain. And lavender is probably one of the most calming and relaxing essential oils. And I had people dab it in their hand and then just create a lot of like their own energy and their heat. And then I had them place it over their heart, and you just feel your own heat that you created just like radiating. And this and the like the aromas is just it's people wouldn't talk about essential oils if they didn't work. That's all I'm saying.
100%. In this yoga class that I went to, a girl that I used to work with in healthcare, she was also a yoga instructor on the side.
Ooh, okay.
So she, I go to her class all the time. She's freaking amazing. I'm trying to get her on the podcast too.
Yes, you should.
Yeah, I'll have to get you guys connected because she also does aerial silks. Like, she's like superwoman. Also, it's funny you say it. And be a lawyer. She was a lawyer. She's like, that shit. And then she wouldn't practice being a lawyer for a little bit. She's like, it's not for me. And so now she's a physical therapist.
Wow.
But yoga, I think yoga like really led her to that.
Absolutely. I was gonna say like that, just like that healing like nature that she probably has. It really helped her.
Oh my gosh. But she would always in class with lemon lavender warm cloths to like put over her face or like wherever. So like lemon lavender is like my favorite scent now. I'd always like, it's so calming, relaxing. So it's funny that you mentioned that.
You would like lemongrass then.
Lemon and what?
No, just lemongrass. You would love
lemongrass. Oh, okay.
You would love lemongrass.
I'll have to see what I have. I got like a pack a while back, and I'm like, I only use like lavender and I think maybe like an orange one. But
oh, that's frankincense.
Oh my god. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to talk about this.
Sorry, frankincense is one of my favorite scents. It's
like a go-to.
Oh yeah. And what if I even told you that if you put essential oils regarding which chakra they connect with, they can either open or balance them?
Whoa, I believe it. Holy shit. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. We're gonna have to do like mastering essential oils next.
I mean, I'm definitely not like a master at all, but after...
Oh, but you know more than me, so I consider you a master.
Oh, well, thank you. But after last month where we had a whole day dedicated to chakras and essential oils and stones, you know, when you went to like the stone store. It's just, if you wanted to have another conversation about that, that'd be awesome.
Well, yeah, we'll make it happen. Because I have a whole plate of like crystals and stones and things like that.
You have to tell me what kind of crystals you have. Please.
Oh, yeah. I mean, my favorite one would be like rose quartz, the like OG. That one I just keep around in my pocket. I got a bunch of little random ones, but yeah, I'll have to get you connected with this workbook that I get sent to me every month. She's called Spirit Daughter, but she has like crystals for like the Aries season right now, or crystals for like, you know, every season.
Wow.
So I take my workbook and then I go to the crystal shop. I'm like, I need these ones.
I would be so into that.
I'll be sure to send that to you.
I'm so into that stuff.
I don't even know why it took me so long to think of that. Because like not too many of my friends are like into this stuff. You know, it's kind of like it's too cool for people.
If you know, it's the type of thing where it's not supposed to be like a religious type of like thing you cling to. It's you can believe in a lot of things if you want to.
Yes, big facts.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go over, okay, so I know we kind of chatted about it, but what are some benefits of daily yoga, meditation, breathing practices?
They all come like full circle to one another.
Yeah, I love it.
And usually when you practice like a flow, like a whole, you know, sort of practice, if that makes sense, most of the time they'll always incorporate some sort of breathing, you know, exercise and meditative state. I'm sure you know what Savasana is. That's everyone's favorite. It's always at the end. It's usually 3 to 7 minutes, depending on the instructor and whatnot. That's considered meditation.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's yeah. Even if you're not like intentionally meditating on one subject, if you take 10 minutes of silence, that can be meditative.
What 100%. I love that. Yeah. I've been doing a lot of guided meditation through like the Headspace app, but maybe I just like chilling and laying and just be present.
Yeah. One of our, I guess, assignments last month was a whole hour of your day dedicate to silence. You don't talk to anybody. You don't watch TV. You don't go on your phone. You just hour of silence. You can read if you want. You can sit outside. And that was meditative too. And I did that like every other day.
How'd you feel after it?
It's you think a lot. You think
100%.
And sometimes the thoughts are like really superficial and just like one ear out the other. And then other times you're like, did I just make like a life decision?
Wow. Yeah, so I think you're able to like get deeper into like, there's like different like thinking levels, and like if you get down to like theta, it's like the most like genius level. But I think meditation helps bring you down to that, because we're like almost like going too fast.
Yeah. And people are like, wow, people who can multitask, like that's so awesome. How do they do it? But on the flip side, I would argue it's more difficult to only focus on one thing. Truly.
Yes. Because like you can't be here and be on your phone, or we're checking our phones as like a mindless like brain suck, and it's just a distraction. It's not really, you're not really going to do something and truly to focus. Like you can really only focus on one thing, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're so caught up in, I think, especially our generation, caught up in getting back to people right away and like hearing from people and checking in and blah, 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 and social media. And just, I think the phone is just a huge suck. And so like to be able to focus, it's funny you say that. I've been trying to do one task at a time this week and really just focus on giving my full attention to that. Because then I think you produce better work, better content, better whatever, when you're not pulled 85 different directions.
Absolutely. And it helps you, I think, in my opinion, be more original. Like, because when you only focus on doing that one thing, all you have is like yourself, you don't have, you don't Google something and then like somebody else wrote something and then you're like, oh, that's a good idea. And then you like mix it with your own thoughts. Like, no, like you get to be just so organic and with yourself. And so that's a huge benefit. And just, I was not a flexible person. I still don't consider myself to be very flexible. I have very tight hips. Bone problems. Bone problems run in my family. And that's another reason I laugh when people say, I'm not flexible enough. I'm like, oh, well, I'm not flexible either, yet I'm going to be a yoga teacher. So so obviously the physical benefits are awesome. And then breathing exercises that kind of maybe in the same vein as meditation, to where they help you focus on one thing and really recognize like what's going on in your body. Yeah. It's probably like the biggest thing.
Crazy. I know, because I feel like when I get really anxious, I always come back to like my breath, and it's like half the time I realized that I couldn't even count to like 10 and just focus on the breath without like kind of like, and it's like, dang, like nothing is more like, who cares about what's going on in the world? Like you got to figure out how to just exist and calm yourself down. Yep. So it's breathing and practicing that meditation has truly changed my life. And then it's kind of fun to add in the yoga then. It's like, it's stretching and strength and, all these things.
Oh, yeah.
And then also add in your proper breaths and things like that. I'm like, oh, this shit is hard. Exactly. But it's a good challenge, like to me it's a fun challenge.
Exactly. You just, it feels good when you like push yourself in a way that's not abrasive. And
it's like slow. And to me, yoga is a different challenge than like sports, because I feel like softball, basketball, running, it's all like go, 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 go. and super stop, start. And yoga has a flow to it, and it's a different kind of strength, you know, like slow and steady is what you want versus like rushing through something. And it's always funny to me when athletes try yoga for the first time, because they're like, I thought I was strong. I was like, you're strong for your sport, not for yoga.
Yeah.
It's like all these different muscles.
Tell this big, you know, macho football player to do a headstand and watch and then laugh. I mean, I don't mean it in like a mean way, but but that's like the thing. Yoga is also very humbling.
So humbling.
Yeah.
And like it's cool because also you can just let the ground catch you, you know?
Yeah.
It can be somewhere like try new things, but like it won't be that scary.
Exactly.
I think that transfers over off the mat too, which is
oh my gosh, yes. And I mean, please tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I've always been a pretty, you know, open and nice person. But I mean, I feel changed, and I feel like, you know, I feel kind of like bad, like looking back, and I'm like, man, like how was my heart not open before? Like it is now.
Like I feel the same way. I'm like, oh, I could have been better. I could have done something different in that moment. And it's like you almost like reflect on all these things, and you're like, ooh, I wish I could have done it different. But also, I think knowing that you were doing the best that you could in that moment, knowing you can't change it, don't sweat it too much. I think moving forward, like you know how you'll respond and how you'll like care for people and how you will, you know, interact with people. So. I totally get that too.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I wish I would have like hung out with other people in high school and like, you know, all these things. But it's like, that's okay. I can like reach out to them now.
Yeah.
You know, not a big deal.
Exactly. You know? And it's so funny that you say that, because one of the, I guess, topics we meditated on earlier this week was about failure. And one of the things I really liked that my teacher said was, you know, you look at your failure. Well, your eyes are closed, but like you're looking at this failure. And my teacher said, acknowledge it and say thank you. And then tell it, I'm gonna place you to the side now. Yes. And then once you place it to the side, it kind of just, you know, bleeds away. Like you did your due diligence. You said, okay, I see you. All right, moving on.
Yeah. I love that. I like did this meditation one time, and it was like I like to do them sometimes in all different like atmospheres. So it's like sometimes I'll be playing, sometimes I like to walk.
Yeah.
And there's this one is like pretend like whatever comes to mind, pick it up and throw it out to the side.
Yes.
That one just changed my life. So like they kind of reminded me of that. I was like, whoa, and I was able to unpack some like heavy shit while I'm like on this walk.
I can just like see you walking, and you're like,
I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna hear that anymore.
Yeah. I love that. That's so funny.
Yeah.
God.
And so, because I think we've carried around far too much of like shit that's not ours, you know?
Yeah.
And like, I realized that we're like, oh wait, once you like step back, you're like, I don't need to worry about that. That's not mine to worry about. I think it's hard when you have such a big heart and you're like, let me just worry about it all for everyone.
Oh yeah. You're preaching to the choir over here.
Oh my gosh, I love this. I'm like, I feel like I'm getting to know you so much more and like your like adult life.
Oh my gosh, right? I love it. I love being an adult. I will probably like disagree with that statement 2 days from now, but like I'm really appreciating now in my life. I'm really appreciating just like my journey. And I really didn't do that before. I felt I was living on someone else's time, someone's like goals and what they wanted. And now I'm able, and you know, I hate to be this gooey, but like something aside from like yoga that really helped me with that is like my husband. Like he is the first person that's really held me accountable and said, can you just like think about yourself and your well-being for once? Can you stop trying to please these people? Look what it's doing to you.
Yeah,
and
because you will like be stressed out and like you will never be good enough, I think, for yourself when you try and please everyone else before yourself.
And something I really love that yoga has really instilled in me is like, you are enough. your breath, you can control that, and that's enough. Everything else will follow. And yeah. So.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay, I have one last question for you. So if someone's interested in getting started into yoga, what's the best way to do so? A lot of people get scared. They're like, I don't know where to start, or I'm not flexible enough, or like, all the excuses.
I know, right? Just like anything, like YouTube it. YouTube it, Google it, ask somebody, go on Instagram, look at hashtag whatever that you're into. I mean, that's kind of how I got into yoga back then, because I mean, my teammates were my only friends really in college, because that's all the people I was literally allowed to hang out with. So bad.
Yeah, you're smart.
Yeah, and so it was like a huge step to be like, oh, I'm taking yoga because it counts for credit. Like, you can't knock me for that. Yeah. So that was like my like quote unquote excuse getting into it. But I mean, honestly, allow yourself to be open enough to ask questions. And if you see someone on like Instagram where like they post a lot of yoga stuff, like message them and be like, hey, like, how did you get started? Or like, what do you recommend that I do? Or even just like look up places in your area. There's bound to be, I mean, nowadays there is bound to be some sort of studio.
Yeah.
I mean, did I think there would be yoga studios in Fayetteville, North Carolina? No.
There was.
There was. Exactly. It's just fate. Like, it's so
like naturally curious. And I love that you said ask questions and ask, because I think so many, especially our generation, we think we can do it all on our own, and we don't ask for help ever. And so I think when you start asking around, like, to me, community is everything, and it takes a village to make something happen.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
So I think the sooner you start asking and just practice asking small questions like, hey, where do you go to yoga? Hey, Boa, where do you just like little things, and like you get better, and then you can start asking for big things.
Exactly, and you make new friendships along the way. You learn about yourself. I also have, I mean, I'm not like a full-on teacher yet, but part of my learning is teaching others, and so I made it for myself at first, just so I could see myself like practicing. But I do have a YouTube. It's kind of bootleg right now.
No, where can we find you? Give us a plug.
I mean, I think my handle on YouTube is just like Danny Smith. I mean, I'll have to see. That's how, like, I'm not doing it for like clout. I'm just doing it.
This is awesome. I'll put all your info in the show notes.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's perfect. Yeah. Okay, YouTube.
And I want to tell people about like what you've been doing. Like, literally, when I listened to your episode on your podcast, I listened to it yesterday. I think you posted on Monday though, about like mastering your morning. And I tried for the first time this morning to wake up before the sun. Yeah. And oh my gosh, it was so hard.
It's hard, but it takes practice. And I think I did my flow this morning before we got on. So I'm like a little late. But I think it's just a nice way to like rise before everyone. And honestly, I feel like, especially you being on the East Coast with everyone in like the West Coast, I feel like you'll have this competitive advantage against people. Like, got this and this done.
Yeah. I mean, truly. I mean, I've made a few friends over here, which has been really great. Yeah. But all of my loved ones, aside, from, my friends too, they're all in Oregon. So even when I want to have a phone call at like 10 a.m., they're like, oh.
Yeah, they're like 7, and I'm like, let's do a podcast.
Yeah. Well, that's why when you told me 10 a.m., I was like, okay, 10 a.m. your time or 10 a.m. my time?
I always forget. I'm like, I always get stuck with I'm like, oh, I know them from Kaiser. Like, it will always be Kaiser to me.
I still see your house. Like, I see your house and the stairs and your bonus room.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh, I miss that house. My parents finally downsized.
That makes sense.
But don't worry, they moved around the corner. I'm like,
oh my God. They would.
Yeah, they didn't move too far. And it's so crazy. I didn't realize that. I always forget that you grew up in McMinnville.
Yeah.
My dad grew up in McMinnville, like my grandparents' house.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. So like we always either go through West Salem or take the ferry, and it's like hilly and like.
It's a beautiful drive.
Yes.
I could do it with my eyes closed at this point.
Oh,
yeah.
That's crazy. I know my grandma would always eat us breakfast before my mom would come pick us up on like Sunday mornings. And my mom's like, don't feed them because like we'll throw up because it's so hilly.
Oh my God.
Grandma, she'll feed us. She like won't not let us eat.
Yeah.
So it was like so funny.
I'm very thankful for my childhood there. Like my grandpa, my dad, and me all went to the same elementary school. And and then on top of that, both my parents worked for the jail. So everyone knew me. And if I did anything, they'd be like, oh, Saunders, your daughter, la la la. And
oh my God.
And I was the only one who got in trouble. My brother never got in trouble.
Yeah.
And so I got like the double dosage of like everything. But anyways, off topic.
That's crazy. I feel very similar. So my mom worked for the school district. Like,
oh yeah, she did.
She wasn't at McNary, thank God, but like everyone had the same email. They know how to reach her, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like everyone is older, because you're older for your grade, right?
Yeah, my birthday is in September. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was 17 when I graduated, but all my friends were 18.
Yeah.
So they could self-check out. So I'm like,
oh my gosh. Yes.
My notes.
Oh yeah, because your birthday's in June, right?
Yeah, so I'm like a little baby. I'm like, well, I'll take care of this.
That's the Bob I know and love.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, sneaky little piece of shit. But
I mean, we all did it. In my senior year of high school, I can't tell you how many days I skipped.
Like, isn't it funny? Because now it's like, once you're into things that you truly love, you're like, man, it's not worth skipping.
Yeah, honestly, I'm like, if I skipped like any classes from my master's program, or if I decided,
you'd be disappointed in yourself.
Oh
right?
yeah, I'm paying thousands of dollars for what? To not do what I paid for? Like,
maybe we should have gone to private school, right?
Oh my God. Oh yeah. We wouldn't have survived. No, I was gonna say we would have been worse there.
Private school always produced sneakiest kids, right?
It's like freaking, the stories, oh, the pastor's daughter, or, the governor's son. Or...
I'm like, y'all are wild children.
Have you not seen Gossip Girl? Like,
literally.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's wild.
Anyways.
Well, yeah, I think this is an excellent podcast. We should probably just end it there.
Yes.
Thanks so much for chatting. We'll definitely get on and talk about essential oils and chakras. That would be amazing.
That would just be amazing. And we can talk about stones if you want. If you want to touch on that too.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we'll get that all situated. I'm so pumped. Cool. Thank you so much.
Yes, you are welcome. I'm so happy we talked. This is I feel so good. I feel like my Friday is just like that much better.
Literally. It's an excellent Friday.
It's a good Friday.